The sweet, blissful escape of games is shrouded with great characters and enveloped in an equally great story, until the story does a complete 180 shocker on us and brings us to this point where I, Mahanaz from SegmentNext, give you craziest video game plot twists that left us with an occasional "ooh," followed by an unbelievable "now wait a minute" reaction. The Silent Hill series ranks high in the creep factor of video games. Aside from being one of the most flinchingly scary games, it takes the prize for most disturbing ending with Silent Hill 2. As the game progresses, a pattern starts to emerge. Near the end, we're left wondering if we'll ever find our wife who asked James to come to Silent Hill. In this moment, we're let in on a secret that James already knows, but us, the player, has just realized. He's killed her, killing the love of his life because she was already dying of a terminal illness. The entire game was his punishment he may or may not have deserved. These moral ambiguities make the plot twist even more disturbing. The awful part about the plot twist in Red Dead Redemption was that you thought they were all going to live happily ever after. Protagonist John Marston has managed to get out of his deal with Ross and has returned to the ranch where his wife Abigail and son Jack are waiting. However, despite John's pledge to stay out of the outlaw life forever, he is presented with a surprise attack from a combined force of lawmen, soldiers, and government agents led by Ross. He manages to fend off several waves of attackers and get his family to safety, but just as you think everything's nifty, he's shot numerous times by Ross and his men. Now enter John. The title made stark sense then. Not quite the Disney ending it was set up to be. We're still sad about it now. Infamous is one of the most underrated game series of recent years, especially the earlier game that tells the tale of a young man attempting to get a grip on his newfound superpowers. The original game was not only a blast, but it also contains a few surprise plot twists. The first is a real kick to the feels when the antagonist Kessler kills your girlfriend. But the major plot twist is in the final battle with Kessler. You discover, much to all our surprise, that Kessler is actually a future version of you that has traveled back in time to bestow you with your superpowers earlier than originally planned. The end goal is to make you more powerful than Kessler is now eventually. It's a bit of a head scratcher at first, but it's a great twist and set up for the sequel where you go after Kessler once and for all. Blood is on Kratos' mind as he is yet again on the path to kill a god, and this time it is Zeus. Kratos has had enough of Olympians' hypocrisy, and he's screaming out how he's going to destroy Olympus. First of all, please don't go screaming your master plan everywhere you go, and secondly, you'll likely rile up other Olympians since they'd be scared of losing their godship. But being the courageous Spartan warrior he is, Kratos finally manages to tackle down Zeus, and amidst a flurry of dialogues as he prepares to impale Zeus, Athena comes running to interrupt the scene and talk some sense into Kratos. But to no avail. As Kratos strikes forwards to kill Zeus, Athena intervenes and gets stabbed. The goddess of war and wit, who had been our only ally up in Olympus, dies, sorta, at our hands. The Final Fantasy series is huge and too complex to explain briefly, but one of the biggest moments in the series comes in the middle of the hugely popular Final Fantasy VII, when Aeris, a major character whom you have played for many hours, is suddenly killed. This comes as an incredible shock for the player, as she seems to be set up as an ongoing character. For many gamers, it was a surprisingly emotional moment, and not just because they had spent forever trying to equip and train the character, she was plain awesome. As game designer Tetsuya Nomura said, death should be something sudden and unexpected, and Aeris' death seemed more natural and realistic. Downright traumatizing. Portal includes another unreliable character communicating via voice. This time it's Gladys, genetic life form in disk operating system if you want to be more precise, guiding our protagonists through a series of tests with the promise of cake when they're complete. It becomes obvious early on that Gladys is not a friendly machine but a murderous one. Because of this, it would be reasonable to assume that the cake is yet another lie. After the final fight that leaves Gladys in charred pieces, there are two twists. First, the cake was real, despite seeing the cake is a lie scrawled on walls earlier, and Gladys is still alive. In Lords of Shadow, you fight everything from demons and werewolves to vampires and ancient gods. As you play the game, you might be wondering about the absence of a very important character in the whole Castlevania mythology. Where is Dracula? In a reboot of one of the greatest video games, you surely can't leave behind an important character like him. And once the credits rolled, you were disappointed to find out he was nowhere to be seen on the game. Or so you thought, because after the credits rolled, it's revealed that you've been playing as a soon-to-be Dracula. And as if that wasn't enough, you also revealed that it's been over 1,000 years after the game ended. So Dracula and Sobek are in present days trying to deal with the second coming of Satan, who will try to destroy the earth and have his revenge against you and the dead. The 2008 part of the franchise was not only filled with corny humor but left us with a bad taste in our incredulously agape mouths with the twist the ending brought. So we team up with Princess Alika, who's an Ura, to beat the evil god Ahriman and salvage her homeland. We survive through numbers on numbers of boss fights to finally getting a chance to trap the antagonist Ahriman. Alika does her chance on the Tree of Life and, well, gives her own life to it, much to Prince's utter sadness. But the prince was like, to hell with the world, I am going to save my crush by sealing a deal with Ahriman, the evil god who wants to take over the world. So he sets Ahriman free, returns the light to Alika's body, and she returns to life. The game ends with the prince carrying Alika across the desert while Ahriman's darkness envelops the world. Just like that, hours of hard work down the drain. Initially thought to have died during a prison break 15 years prior to the events of the game and even before the events of the other games in the series, Sam returns in order to seek Nate's help in finding the lost treasure of Henry Avery and tells him that it's the deal he made with the man who helped him break out of jail, Hector Alcazar. But in a face-down with the antagonist and rival treasure hunter Rafe, he makes Sam spill the beans that not only did Rafe bribe for Sam's freedom, but also Alcazar died in a shootout months ago. So no debt. Sam lied to his little brother Nate. Huge plot twist surrounding sibling betrayal. Rafe is still a douche though. In true Kojima style, Metal Gear Solid 5 ends with a mind-blowing twist. Turns out you weren't actually playing as Big Boss. As the opening hospital scene hinted, your character was just a decoy, installed as leader of Mother Base to protect the real Big Boss, who got to ride off on a motorbike and do peyote in New Mexico for a while. Somehow, thanks to plastic surgery and nanomachines, Zero and Miller were able to transform that random medic from Ground Zeroes into someone with the face, build, memories, and skills of the world's most legendary soldier. Science is miraculous indeed. You are a Jedi with amnesia, trying to recover your memory in Knights of the Old Republic. Much of the plot involves making light side, dark side choices, working up to a big battle against the evil Darth Malak, who is a former apprentice of the super duper evil Darth Revan. We face off, enter profound series of dialogues in true Star Wars fashion. The big reveal is, you are Darth Revan. You've been brainwashed. When the reveal happens, it's psychedelic. Throughout Bioshock, you're guided through a crumbling underwater utopia by a man named Atlas who's speaking over a radio. Atlas seems very helpful, telling you what to do and how to get it done, and you build trust with him over hours of play. but Atlas had a big reveal up the sleeve. Near the end of the game, it's revealed that the protagonist Jack has been brainwashed, and he's been responding to a trigger phrase all along, and that phrase is, "Would you kindly?" When the phrase is uttered, Jack does whatever he's told, including killing people. The freaky thing about this moment is that it changes the whole vibe of the game. While Jack did have some legitimate choices in the game, for instance to harvest or save the little sisters, for the most part he was being controlled by Atlas, who used the trigger phrase throughout the game to make him do things he might not have chosen to do had he known what the real situation was. Thus, a man chooses, a slave obeys. Let us know in the comments below which plot twists have left you reaching out for the game to replay it in a whole new light. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe for more. Until next time.